Morning, everyone. Good morning. How are you guys doing? I am Candy Conda Casey, Biz Boss. I am going live today from my Life After Sports page. I would love for you guys, from my motivational speaker page. And I would like you guys to share out for me. I went on my motivational speaker page versus I didn't want this to be on Life After Sports. Didn't really want it to be Casey Biz Boss because, this might get a little controversial, might get a little hot. And so I wanted you guys to come on this page over here. And I'm going to try to share it if you give me a minute. I don't want to be too rude. I don't want to be too rude. But anyway, so I would love for you guys to share this out for me. And I'm going to try to share it on my page. And then I'm going to get right into it because the reason why I'm going to share this out. So the reason why I'm trying to live today. So if you guys will do me a favor and share this out. Let me tell you guys why this is so important. I have been talking to a lot of millennials lately. And one of the things that we've been talking about is, why you should vote. So I've got my, I call them my reasons, my reasons that, I feel like, I'm still trying to share this on my other pages. Y'all know I have 55 pages, right? Gosh, this is just becoming more difficult than it should be to share out. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna let y'all do it. Y'all have to share it out. It's hard for me to share on my own page. So one of the things I've been talking to a lot of millennials about is why you should vote. So of course we go down the regular reasons why, our parents, our ancestors, our grandparents all, gave up a lot for us to be able to vote. Everything from going back as far as for women, the women's suffrage movement. For everyone else, our right to vote was stifled and it was hampered by at that time, it wasn't really Republicans. It was really back into the slavery times. Even after we were free, they still made it difficult for us to vote, right? And what they did is they did these innocuous tests for us. Everything from guess how many jelly beans are in a jar, or guess how many how many people are in the census. I mean, things that it was just impossible for anyone to actually answer these questions. And so because of that, it still suppressed our vote. And so here we bring ourselves now to one of the most important elections in the country. And what is happening to us now? They're still suppressing the vote. How are they doing that? They're suppressing the vote by shutting down the post office. They're suppressing the vote by, I wish, and if you guys want me to, I will show you guys this great video by Samuel Jackson. A great video. And I might have to pull that up on my iPad because I already have some other tabs open that I want to show you guys. And I don't want to show you guys 500 things today. But that is like an amazing video. And I'm going to try to find that video and show it to you guys without dropping my brand new birthday present. Sorry, which is my new iPad. Yes, I got a new iPad. And but I would love to show you guys this video. And I mean, it really says everything. It says everything that like I said, it's an everything video. It's everything you want to think about why you guys should vote is in this video. But while I get to that video, I want to continue to tell you about this particular election is interesting. It's interesting because there's a lot of everybody needs our vote. The Democrats want our vote. The Republicans want our vote. We are the cherry. We are the cherry on top of the sundae, right? If you guys will continue to share this out and tag my main page, if you will, that is driving me crazy that did not happen for me. It was on my main page and I couldn't get it to for some reason. I don't know what is going on. My iPad's acting up. I got too many devices going on here. But what is it? Samuel Jackson. But anyway, so everybody wants our vote. We are the cherry, which is a great place, place to be in. But at that same, I can't find this video, Samuel Jackson voting video. But it's a good news, bad news, because now we've got everybody else that's saying, I think I just found it. Yeah, I did find it. I found it. Okay. So the good news is that everybody is vying for our vote. And now we've got other people getting in and telling us why we should or should not why we should or should not let these people have our vote. So now we've got all these people that are hanging us up and getting in the fight. And to me, I don't mind them getting in the fight, but get in the fight and let's make it a fair fight. Let's do the fight when it works. Not 18 days before the election, everybody wants to tell us how to hijack our vote. That's not how you do it. When I say the fight has to be fair, I'm not saying it has to be fair, that fighting fair. What I'm saying is you coming to us and expecting us to get behind you, that should be fair. Because otherwise, it seems to me that you're being, that you have an agenda. The Ice Cubes, the Kanyes, the Diddies. So if you didn't come to me in January or February or March or April, May with your agenda, this is nothing that you just thought of yesterday. So if you didn't come to me 5 or 6 months before the election, then why per se are you coming to me now? Because now I think, I'm feeling some type of way. I feel like you got something else that you're trying to get over here and you're trying to slide it back. So I'm saying all that to say that I'm laughing. One of my friends bought me these glasses. I really love these glasses. The other day she was teasing me. She's like, "You got where your glasses at?" So I put my glasses on. She gonna ask me, "What are those glasses I bought you?" They were about to fall off the table. But anyway, so and I want to open with this video, and then I want to delve into this contract with Black America. Because when I heard it at first, normally I'm one of these people that's super, I read everything, I look, and I dissect and trisect it. But it caught me off guard because I was in the middle of something else. And I didn't, look at it. And I decided the other day to pick it up and read it in its entirety. And I was really disappointed. And I'm going to tell you why I was disappointed. I was disappointed because I thought that when I read this contract, I was going to see something so off the chain, so detailed, and so, mesmerizing. Like I said, I thought I was just going to see something so mesmerizing that was going to blow my socks off. And that's not what happened. That's not what happened. What I saw is a very thin, as to use the words of Congress, a skinny bill with some overarching ideas. That's good. I'm not going to take away from it. But to me, it's the things that we've been talking about all along. And I'm wondering to this point of now when people, I was online the other day when I was voting. I went on a live, and a guy came in my live and says, "I'm not gonna vote until I get my reparations." Well, I just know that I'm getting ready to go in this bill and see this whole chapter on reparations. I didn't see that. I saw some edging and hints around what might be possible. But to me, I saw an upgraded version of the affirmative action. And if you guys remember back in affirmative action, it was for education, it was for jobs, and a lot of African Americans came out and said, we don't want affirmative action, we don't want no handout, hand up, all that. You know, we want to do it on our own. And now here we are, basically back asking for the very same thing that we already had in place, and they didn't want it. Now they're basically asking for an upgraded version of affirmative action. I'm saying that. I said it. Yes. Now, first of all, I want to play this video for you guys because I love this video. I don't know who made it, but it was a great video. And I want to play this first because I think it, I think it hits hard and I think it hits home. Whoa, there we go. Didn't play. Why? Okay. I was listening to it a second ago. Oh, I know why. It's picking up in my earpiece. Sorry, y'all. It's picking up in my earpiece. I'm gonna have to actually take it off, which is fine. But anyway, I just played this while I was playing it in my ear. That's why. Me and this video are not getting along this morning.
The right to vote for well nigh 80 years.
Voter suppression has taken many forms.
People have been denied the right to vote for well nigh 80 years.
First, they used the poll tax to keep black folks from voting. Then it was the literacy test, racial terrorism, and violence.
I don't want everybody to vote.
New day, same old dirty tricks.
There are those in power who are doing their darndest to discourage people from voting.
Calls for investigations after claims of voter suppression. President Trump sabotaging efforts to vote by mail.
If your vote didn't matter, they wouldn't try so hard to take it from you. Vote early. Vote like your life depends on it. I'm exercising my right to vote, and you should too. Not because I want you to, but because he doesn't. Vote, damn it, vote!
Now, I'm not getting ready to tell you who to vote for, but I will tell you this. I will tell you that everything in that video, when you look at the historical part of it, it's got some history to it. It's telling you how we got here. Yes, this particular video was sponsored by the Biden campaign, but not really the point. It's like anything else, is that you got to look at what is going on out here and why they are trying so hard. The voting should have been it should have been an easy, fair election, no problems. So tell me why they're moving the ballot boxes, why they took the sorting machines out, why did Trump install this guy, Louis DeJoy, in, who was one of his biggest supporters and biggest fundraisers? Why in Texas, in some cases, in some counties, you have got to drive 3 or 4 hours just to put your ballot in a ballot box or even turn it in, and nobody can turn it in for you. Why are all these things happening if there is no voter suppression? Because otherwise it would seem like there would be no problem. So let's go to the contract with Black America. I wanted to see something super, like I said, I wanted to see some big legal contract, something that was going to say, oh my God, it's going to change the world. That's what I thought I was going to see. I wanted to see something that was going to knock me off my, you know what. So let's look at this. All right, guys, I pulled this up for you all. Okay, hold on. Bear with me for a second. I wish you guys would invite in or make sure you share this to my other pages as well. Oh, shoot. That's not what I wanted to do. Share my screen. This is what I wanted to do. Okay, I want to show you guys the contract with Black America. And, okay, first, First page is easy. It talks about representation. It talks about, because I took some notes here. I know it's kind of small, but I want you guys to see this. I want you guys to pull this up for yourself. But anyway, on the first page, it talks about, it's a 22-page contract. Ice Cube drew this up with whomever, I don't know who, him and someone else drew this up, okay? So this first page where it talks about the bill to guarantee Black opportunity and representation. This is where it starts at. Okay. So on this page, it basically is kind of a just an overview of what's in the contract. Okay. It talks about neo-reconstruction. If you ever heard the word construction is back in the old days where, you know, Blacks first started getting, when we were first free, when the slaves were free, and they started to come up with ways that Black people could re-enter into society, but there was a lot of systemic racism still there, and it was called construction. So now what they're saying in this bill to guarantee Black opportunity is a neo-reconstruction, and what they want to do is to redress the past systemic wrongs that were done to us. You know, in other words, it addresses reform and other things. So I'm going to go on to some of these other pages, but this is just their introduction, the introduction. So now their next big thing is lending reform. Okay, lending reform. So on your lending reform, as you guys see, it's one little paragraph, right? One little paragraph here. And basically what they're saying is that all banks that are in the area where you live at, wherever that is, that they should give African Americans a percentage of loans for each bank. Now, here's my thing. This would be great, and I'm going to read it to you because I know it's kind of small there, so let me read it to you. Bank lending will be regulated to require banks to lend a percentage of all loan and credit categories on all equal basis to the Black population each bank serves. However, the minimum threshold must yearly meet the percentage equal to the nation's Black population, currently approximately 13.4%. Rates on Black loans federally and from banks to be the same average as whites. This is never going to work. And let me tell you why. Because banks are in the business to make money. They're not going to, if they're going to lend Blacks for property or for whatever the same value as whites, what you're saying is, I've got to lend out this certain percentage to Blacks that belong to my bank. So they're either going to suppress you getting into that bank, getting a loan by using credit and other things, or they're going to give the top tier percentage of people loans that they would have given anyway. The 800 credit score people, whatever, they would have given it to them anyway. So what am I saying? That this, you know, when you know, this is great talking points, and it's great for Trump to say, okay, I'm going to put this in but he's not going to do that. He's not going to, if the Trump administration, and I'm going to use the word Trump administration so that this doesn't seem like this is some personal vendetta against the president. If the Trump administration was going to give you these banking, lending coups, they would have done it already. They understand. They know what's going on. That's why they do the census. They know who's owning houses, what percentages of African American, you know, own homes and et cetera already. And I want to go back to this first paragraph. In the first paragraph, in the opening paragraph, it also says something that's very important. It says Native Americans will be whole also as a point of this contract, saying that if they adopt this contract, it will make Native Americans whole too, and they will actually also be able to benefit and reap the benefits of the inequities and discrimination and that they lost as well. Well, I love my Native American and my Hispanic brothers and sisters, but here's my question. Is this the contract with Black America or not? Or are we fraying, are we touching the edges of the phrase, so that we can, push this to the edge and say, oh, okay, this contract can be used for Hispanics, and this contract can be used for Native Americans, and this contract, and I'm just asking a question here. I'm just asking a question because this was such a big thing, and this was supposed to be something that the Democrats had to make a decision on today. And by the way, make sure you guys are still sharing this out for me. By the way, Elizabeth Warren, who I initially voted for, actually had reparations as part of her. She had reparations as part of her platform. It didn't work, but she did have reparations in her platform. Okay, next, let's go to the next slide here. Next slide is federal funding. I'm going to read it out loud in case it's too small on the screen. Federal funding of baby bonds. Okay, basically what this is saying is that every child, they want to pass a federal program providing every child with a government-funded trust account at birth start with a $1,000 contribution, as proposed by Senator Booker and Representative Ayanna Pressley. Accounts will be managed by the Treasury Department, and only those born into lower wealth families would receive more contributions each year, up to $46,000 total. At age 18, they can access the funds to be used, restricted to asset enhancing actions such as buying homes, starting a business, or funding their education. Okay, I got 100 issues with this, and I'm going to tell you why. So what you are saying is that every child that is born into poverty gets this $1,000, which can possibly go all the way up to $46,000 or almost $50,000. Great idea, but where's the money coming from? Is this part of reparations? And then if that is what you're saying, then why is it that all of the people that, what kind of threshold are you using to decide what the wealth or the poverty line? Is that going to be someone that makes less than 100,000, less than 50,000? And then what if you have the way that the cost of living is? You could have someone making $100,000 and still be poor, and still be, considered working poor. So how is that? How are you going to justify all that? Is my question. So it's really interesting to me how these are good working ideas, but this is not a finished contract yet. So it is upsetting to me that that you are upset, Ice Cube, I love you, but that you are upset that the Democrats didn't want to run with this right away because it's still not finished yet. I don't care if Booker said it and Presley said it and Kamala Harris said it and God said it. It still is not a fully developed idea yet. It isn't an idea. It's a concept still. And then at the beginning of this, it has something that you can sign. And I'm like, why would I sign something like that when I may be signing something that my kids or my grandkids may not even actually be able to benefit from? Because there's no numbers to show what wealth gap are you basing this on? Who are you saying? What kids are you saying are poor enough, or are in the lower wealth families? What does that mean? What's a lower wealth family mean? Tell me what that means. Under 50,000, under 60,000, under 20,000, under 500,000. What is that? Because why? And why would anyone sign on to this to say, Okay, because every black family, we already know how this works. Every black family is not going to get this $1,000 to give to their kid. And so you're saying if it's 18 years old, so you're saying every, that it's got to be, what is that, 2 times 20 is 40 somewhere. You're saying $2,300, give or take, my math is in my head, $2,300 a month, every kid is going to get, every black person in America that's in this lower wealth gap. So where you're going to get these people from the projects? They're on public aid. And if so, they're going to stay on public aid if they know that their kid is going. I mean, it's so much wrong with this that it's not even funny. And it would be funny if it wasn't sad. And the reason why it's sad is because, again, this contract is what people are assuming is some kind of reparations magnet or reparations, design. And it's like, I'm not going to vote until I get my reparations, or I'm not going to vote until I get my 40 acres and a mule. And it's not in this contract, people. Sorry, but it's not in here. Okay. Federal Reserve. For qualified Black Americans, Federal Reserve to allow a one-time interest-free loan on home ownership. Okay. That'd be great. I mean, I can, get that through the VA, whatever. Veterans can. They have have a veterans certificate. The Fed to ensure banks and institutions comply with bank lending reform. Fed to adopt modern monetary theory with goal of full employment and avoidance of actual inflation. Federal and state pension funds control $1 trillion. They must allocate 13.4% of their investments to Black-owned enterprises and businesses, venture capital, and private equity funds to take money. Public must invest 13.4% of their total funds back into Black businesses. I go back and say, yet again, who is overseeing this? This is great, but it's just like these PPE loans, all the rest of this. Unless there's someone's eye on the ball, unless this shouldn't even be a contract with Black America. This should be a committee within the government. And it should be a staple within the government. This stuff is they're already supposedly doing this. But they're not, because no one is forcing them to. And just because you give them a contract of your talking points, all you've done is giving them, I will guarantee you in the debate tomorrow, you're going to hear these talking points. You're going to hear these very talking points. And where I'm going to tell you, I'm really disappointed at. I'm disappointed, really, that instead of Ice Cube putting this out for both of the parties to take part in, I am so upset that the way it was done was like, well, the Trump administration, the Democratic administration said that they're not going to talk to me until after. Of course, they're not going to talk to you about after. They can talk to you. They can look at this. They can take a couple of these policies and say, this is great. Yeah, maybe I put this on my website that Ice Cube said we should do this, but they're not in control right now. So they said that they would work with you and sit down with you. They want to see if they're going to win yet. Okay, so then the theory is, well, let me go to the Republicans, to the Trump administration, and see if they'll take it on. And they say, yeah, okay, fine. And what did they do? I don't even think they read this. They just ran right to Twitter and said, Ice Cube is working with us. Now, I have a video someone just sent to me because I put up that I was going to be doing this, and I queued it up to where Ice Cube is speaking. And I think this would be a good time to interject that. And I'm going to play this for you guys.
The Trump campaign contacted me. Now,
wait a minute.
I've never met Donald Trump a day in my life.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Sorry, and never been to the White House.
Sorry. I've got to switch this on my inside. I want to play this for you guys, though. Sorry. I've got to go back to this particular tab. Sorry. Okay, here we go.
So as I was going after private industry, the Trump campaign contacted me. Now, I've never met Donald Trump a day in my life, and never been to the White House. So I met with some of his people because they said, we've seen the contract with Black America and we'd like to pump up our platinum plan. So what I was there to do was make sure that the money was up and that the money was getting directed to Black people. Some things they did, some things they didn't. And that's just what happened. And I told everybody when I put the contract with Black America together that I was going to talk to both sides, and I don't know why they didn't believe me. But that was my plan from the jump, because I know, and what the country needs to know is that this is a bipartisan issue.
Q, I want to talk about what you were just mentioning, the platinum plan, right? Because Trump does have his platinum plan. It's 1 page long. Joe Biden has a plan at 22 pages long of detailed policies about Black America and his plans for Black America. The criticism is that, hey, Trump's plan has a few things on it that are already bills being held up by Senate Republicans that he could have long ago spoken out about. And people are worried that these are just empty words. So what do you say to the criticism that your name is just being used to amplify Trump as a candidate?
Well, I mean, if they see that my name is being used, then, you got to use that as...
Okay, I'm going to stop right there because we all know that that's exactly what is happening. And he knows it's what's happening. I don't know if I say that he did it on purpose, but he did know that his name was influential enough that they would take it and run with it. And that's where I have an issue. And the reason why I showed that video, because I want all of you guys, I have to stop here, right? And say that you guys must vote this year. Yes, I think you should vote against the Trump administration. And the reason is because there were a couple of Republicans that I liked, but right now, this is not the case. We have a pandemic that is going on. We have people out of work. We have, the president has turned his back. He's actually like, oh, the pandemic has turned a corner. You guys know that it hasn't. You guys are seeing what 22,000, 20, actually it's 22, almost close to 24,000 right now, because there's about 3,000 that they say is not really, is not still not counted for. You got 230,000 people, 25,000 people, whatever it is, dead. Guys, there hasn't been that since, most wars didn't kill that many people. And we have to look at that and say, wait a minute, we need to turn something around. I understand why a lot of people voted for Trump. I understand it. I really do. After Obama, people wanted something different. People say that, he was this big movie star and all of this, and he did really good on The Apprentice. I didn't watch it, but hey, it was everybody got 5 million reasons why they did it. And I don't care. What I do care about is just because the Trump administration says that the schools are going to open soon, that's not so. We know that the vaccine is not until next year. We know that our economy, if we cannot live like this another year, or everybody's really going to be in trouble, because they gave out a lot of money this year. They're not going to do this again next year. They're going to find a way to give y'all a couple more stimulus checks, and that's it. And everything. And I think that I don't even know if they've got it yet. They act like they have it, and then they scare me, and then they'll come on and say something else or something ridiculous. And all this, why am I upset? I'm upset about Gretchen Whitmer, the Wisconsin governor, them actually going to kidnap this woman, and the president is like not saying anything about it. All the protests that we've had, it's not let's go in and deal with the peaceful protesters. It's let's go and spray them, or, they're all in Democratic communities, all of these things. We have got to get our butt out of our head. And if I hear, I'm telling you guys, if you guys tell me you're not going to vote, you're probably going to be booted off my page. I'm going to unfriend you in real life and because this year is very important. I had my mail-in ballot, but I stood in line on purpose. I just heard yesterday, 50 Cent say, I'm going to vote for Trump. These people are doing this for their own personal benefit. It's not to help us. Yes, Biden said anybody making over $400,000 a month is going to be in a higher tax bracket. So that made 50 Cent mad. Okay, fine. but that doesn't mean you run off and do it because you're not in that tax bracket. What about all the other 50 million things that's happening here? And I want to throw something to you that one of my, I hate to say fans, but friends, whatever, sent me a text message yesterday and said, you know why George Floyd happened? I didn't really put 3 and 4 together like this, but it has merit to it. He said the reason why that George Floyd, that they treated him like they did is because Trump had just done a rally and said that the policemen aren't being, they're being too nice. They should shove their head in, next time they put them in the cop car, shove their head in there. And I thought about it after he said it. And I was like, oh my God, that's kind of basically just what happened. They shoved him in the car. He said he was claustrophobic, wasn't feeling good. Then they brought him down. And then this other thing happened. I mean, I'm not going to go into detail about that. I want to go back to the contract for you guys. But I mean, think about what is going on here, guys. When you say you're not going to vote, think about what it is, or that you want to vote for the Trump administration. Think about what you're voting for. That's really the most important thing. So I want to go back to the contract. So we were on page, okay, we dealt with the Federal Reserve, finance oversight. Okay, banking commission or a cabinet or sub-cabinet post will be set up to overlook and report on Black, and I'm sitting in cabinet, my mind is somewhere else, on Black minority lending. Okay, housing ownership and mortgages, enforcement of items 2 and 3. All right, economic opportunity zones, community reinvestment. Guess what, guys? I want to tell y'all 2 things. Guess what? Number 1, most of this stuff is already in place. That's number 1. This is not anything new. Okay, that's number 1, 2, and 3. Number 2, I find it very difficult to believe that they're going to, this goes back to the Federal Reserve. They're not going to let anyone, they're not going to give you some magical credit, because I think there is some credit is next. They're not going to automatically throw money into any of these programs just for you and just to make Black people happy. And if you think so, I'm very sorry. That's all of that. And like I said, again, these are concepts. They're not hardcore ideas, which I thought that we were going to see. I thought I was going to see some big breakdown of how to make this happen. Because all of these are, to me, what I see is a culmination of ideas that people have been saying, different Congress members, different celebrities. And that's another issue I have. All these celebrities, other to me than LeBron James, can go kick rocks. He's the only one. He put his money where his mouth is. He is to pay off the debts of the incarcerated individuals. My thing for all of the rest of you guys, Diddy, Kanye, instead of wasting your money, why aren't you guys helping to get people to the vote, doing a bus to help disabled people and senior citizens? Why aren't you developing a program, do a mobile bus, build a bus that is a secure bus where they can come, where you can take that bus around and go pick their votes up. There's so much stuff you guys can be doing with all your money. You're doing something like this is going to help you trend, but it's not going to help us. All it's doing is dividing us right now, because right now, instead of me spending time on something else, I'm spending time on trying to dissect and trisect your CWBA. To me, this contract is subjective. It's open to interpretation. It's ambiguous. It's nothing in here that's guaranteed. It's still very arguable on a lot of these points. And like I said, I just, this one right here, we're on number 5. So if a bank, I'm going back to minority lending, there is no bank out here that is going to give you money because you're Black. They're still going to subject you, because they're doing it right now. They're going to subject you to credit. They're going to subject you to your credit score. They're going to subject you to your job. And the reason why is because they're not in the business of losing money. And what you're saying in here is what they're already doing. If you are a Black person and you got a good credit score and you've got a good credit score and you've got a good job, you're going to be able to walk in that bank and get what you want. The problem always comes down to credit and proving your job. That's really all it is those 2 points. If you got those, and maybe depending on which bank you use, they're going to hit you up for a down payment. But most of the time you got $5,000 to $10,000, you're good. Now they are going to, of course, look at the rest of your liabilities and your assets to make sure that you don't owe out so much. In other words, if you have a second house that you know that you can pay in case something goes wrong with the house, but it all comes down to the very same thing at the end of the day. Can you afford that house? Can you afford the upkeep on that house? And if you can, and you got the money and you got the credit, they're gonna give it to you. It doesn't matter what race you are. So this whole idea or concept here that they're going to do something special for you and raise the percentage. Yeah, okay. So now what do? They lower the credit score another 100. They lower the credit score requirement 100, maybe. Okay, but that's about it. Number 6, data and credit. Most states release public bulk data about arrestees unchecked. 1970 Fair Recording Act credit data. There must be guidelines regarding arrest records that allow privacy and the right to dispute and correct inaccurate data. Credit services will be reformed to mandate consideration of individual consumer data on rent, utility, cell phone, and other bills. Okay, so they add in your cell phone bill. Now they consider your cell phone, in order for you to get a cell phone and data on your rent, utility, cell phone, and other bill payments, they consider that now on your credit, and they give you the opportunity to do what? Go in and dispute inaccurate data. Is that not what you are already? Every credit repair person, that's what they're doing right now, and you can do that yourself. That is nothing phenomenal in there. If you want to blow me away, tell me that answer why right now they're getting ready to move the credit score. I was talking to a lady yesterday that does credit repair. I said they're getting ready to move the credit score now. The gold standard is 800. Now they're getting ready to move it up to 950 or 1,000, I heard. She says, well, we'll just have to get up to 950 or 1,000. Talking about Black people, like it's that easy. The average Black person can't get it. How the hell are you going to get 950 or 1,000? So, excuse me, help me here, okay? I could be slow, but tell me how we're gonna get 1,000 now. You're moving, as soon as we get close to the goalpost, you're moving the goalpost. So to me, if anything, I would be impressed in this data and credit, because it's personal data and credit. This is really more about data, but they threw credit in there, right? Okay, because anybody can access and people are selling your data and all that, and I get it. But my thing is, you want to impress me, Ice Cube, then tell them to lower the credit score for somebody that's going to buy a house, or lower the credit score for the Black person that needs to get a cell phone contract or whatever. I'm not impressed that you're telling me, this is about personal data, but it says personal data and credit. And back to the other, the federal funding and the Federal Reserve. There needs to be some earmarks, do an average on what the credit is in a particular neighborhood, and then find housing or whatever for those people. Then I'm impressed. Then you're telling me that there is a possibility that every disenfranchised Black person can actually move into and buy their own home. Right now, the only way you can get a home if you're disenfranchised is if you're on public aid, and you're on public aid. And what is their public aid program I can't think of what it's called right now, as I wasn't thinking that way. But whatever that program is, if you're on that for 5 years, then they'll help you buy a house. And they just started that maybe five years ago. Prison reform. This is the only thing in here that is really worth looking at. And I'm not in love with it either. Privately run prisons shall be abolished. Okay. People that put all these millions of dollars in here, they're gonna just throw their money away after they invested millions and millions of dollars? I don't think so. Prison labor disallowed without consent. Okay, so you're saying that if you're in prison and you do not want to do labor, you don't want to print up license plates or whatever, you don't have to. Okay, I don't know about that. Who knows? I think they all need some type of trade when they get out, but whatever. I don't know that license plates is a particular job skill once you get out. Okay, nonviolent offenders and for 10 years or longer will be freed on good behavior. Okay. All prisoners marijuana possession freed. I'll agree with that, but that's nothing new that everybody hasn't been fighting for. I'm waiting for the aha moment, and I haven't got it yet. first offenses for illegal drug use or possession to require government payment for entry into approved drug rehabilitation program. Same thing everybody's been talking about, nothing new, rather than imprisonment. And once any prisoner completes his sentence, voting rights are restored. That is something that also that's already being done. The hang up is that even though they're restoring their voting rights in Florida and other big states, what is happening is that they still have to pay their fines. And that's where they get the hang up, even if they restore the voting rights. So again, Ice Cube, do what LeBron is doing. And in this same, this is number 7 in this prison reform, it should be somewhere in here, it should be written that either they can vote without paying the fees. There should not be a point of contention if they haven't paid their fees. They should still be able to vote. That's just like saying if I owe a loan or I owe my house note, I owe my car payment is late, I can't vote. So to me, that's the same thing. If you're going to do it and let them vote, then let them freaking vote, or either put some type of a clause in here that either they can vote without their fines, even if they have fines, or in one of these other reforms, pay their daggone fines off. Okay, especially to me if it's some kind of small charge like marijuana or something like that. I'm going to speed through the rest of these because, to me, like I said, it's a skinny bill. It's a skinny contract. Judicial reforms. It says the Police Reform Act, to me, is, if out of all of these, that and maybe the Confederate Institution are to me the two with the most meat. Judicial reforms eliminate mandatory minimums and 3-strike laws. Yeah, I think they should get rid of 3-strike laws. And then it says the DOJ will have greater oversight over the police department. I like that. Now we're on number 9, Police Reform Act. Police reforms will be implemented in an expansive act that will elimination of qualified immunity. So qualified immunity, if you guys don't know what that is, qualified immunity, it says that's how all these cops are getting off. I actually wrote it down. I wrote it down somewhere because I looked it up. I wanted to make sure that I was speaking intelligently about the qualified immunity. So qualified immunity, I don't even know if I wrote my notes down. I thought I did. But basically what it says is that all of these, I thought I wrote that down. That's weird. Probably somewhere in all my pages of notes here. But basically the short version is qualified immunity is people that are in government jobs, such as cops. Cops and cops, sheriffs, anyone that basically, if they are doing their job while they are under their badge, while they are working, they have immunity that they basically cannot be sued in a civil suit. That's it. That's why these cops are getting off. They have what's called qualified immunity. And what they're saying, the Police Reform Act, is they should get rid of the elimination of qualified immunity. I agree with that 100%. I also agree with requirement of mandatory malpractice insurance for police officers. Definitely, I agree with that. Okay. Make municipalities liable for unconstitutional actions by police. Mandatory use of dashboard and body cam. Agree with that. Elimination of chokeholds and no knock. Definitely. Establishment of residency requirements and de-escalation training. Those two I agree with. I said, to me, this whole bill, this and the Confederate, those two to me have the most meat. This really has the most meat. What I like about, for those who don't know, at one time, there was a residency requirement for police, and actually for all government jobs. No matter if you were a teacher, a police officer, you had to live in that community, in that zip code. As times went, they got, of course, police started making more money, not wanting to be around the people that they serve. Obviously, you don't want somebody knocking on your door saying, Mr. Police, there's a fight down the street and you're off work. But I do think they should live somewhere in the vicinity, because I think if they live, but it's funny that Ice Cube would say this: you don't live in the community, you're not living in the hood with your people to listen to your music. But I understand that they're government employees. I do think they should live somewhere near where they are policing. And I think they should go back to where police are in the neighborhoods. It should be part of their job to go meet the new business owners, talk to them, see what's going on in the neighborhood. Because that is, I think, one of the biggest problems that what happened when they, got rid of the beat cops and residency requirements. They should be required to update training. Severe penalties for evidence tampering include withholding DNA, and federal database of police and disciplinary records established, made public. I love that idea. And once fired, cause cannot be rehired. Yes, I love that, because it's a lot of people out here looking at new people, new fresh blood. And you got these old guys, old ideas still hanging up the police force in a lot of areas. Creation of Office of Independent Prosecutors, solely focused on prosecuting police arrested of wrongdoing, which I think is what they're don't they already have a what is that IAB? Yeah, that's what IAB is supposed to be. But I think they're asking for even an outside. So I'm gonna run through these next two. So yeah, this to me is the most one. This here to me is weak. I don't understand where they're going with this. FCC licensing of public airways. Broadcast networks will be required to air Black produced content equal to 20% of the total content of the network as measured by time. I go back and say this is a financial issue. And networks, you're not going to make them air Black content if the money is not there with the advertisers. So why would who's going to agree to this? What network is going to say, oh yeah, this is great? They're not going to do it. This is money. I'm sorry, Confederate institutions. So elimination of all Confederate statues and uses or displays of Confederate flags on government grounds and property with public access. I like that. I don't see it. This is something that can happen. I just don't think it's possible. Do I see that as closing the wealth gap? No. Rename all streets, schools, public structures that are currently named after Confederate leaders. What I do like here is a memorial will be built in Washington, D.C. for victims of police excessive force. I like that. Renaming. I'm going to go back to, is it a feel-good moment to rename all of the schools that are currently named, with Confederate? But here's the issue. When you say renaming, now you're going to have a lot of people with a lot of ideas, concepts, feelings on which, do we name this after Ida B. Wells or Oprah Winfrey or Ice Cube or Common, or, that's this big, how do you decide that? If if they're going to do that, they also need to come up with something concrete. They're going to rename them after, and maybe everybody gets the name for 5 years or 10 years or whatever. Because, renaming putting that in as a mandate to just automatically rename every single statue and every single school that is now currently named for a Confederate, a Confederate soldier or leader. I'm not saying I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's okay. I just don't think it's any big thing. Adoption of AJP, public-private program that provides access to jobs and education and training for people willing to put in the work and commitment. Okay, guys, tell me what that means. What does that mean? Adoption of a public-private program that provides access to jobs and education and or training for people willing to put in the work and commitment. If that is not the most vague thing that I have ever heard in my whole entire life, I don't know what else is. So and the reason why I'm doing this, guys, and I'm doing it with such passion and vigor, because I want you guys that have not sat down to listen to the 22-page contract with Black America to know what it is that you're signing and what it is that you're hijacking your vote on. And what is it that is so grand that Ice Cube had to pit the Democrats with the Republicans against. And most of this stuff is either stuff that's already been out in the universe. I'm going to leave it right there. Already out in the universe. Anyway, it wasn't any, I expected to open this up and see some reparations guru talk, some, smart economist, Black economist that, that he had put some, some really great numbers or some, hey, if we do this, if the government allows, I don't know, 100,000 African Americans across the country in every state, to buy housing or to do this, it's going to bring the wealth gap up and we're going to bring up. No, I didn't. This is to me a basic life skills plan. Okay. This is a life skills plan for the government. I don't know. Last but not least, I'm going to finish here. This is important. And I'm going to tell you why this is important. The Black responsibility. You guys got to listen to this. If you don't do anything else. Chronic poverty creates an atmosphere of negativity, frustration, hopelessness, depression, alcoholism, drug abuse, crime, and violence. These are some of the conditions that plague the Black community, which is dealing with extreme generational poverty. As we begin to gain social and economic equality, it's our duty to clean up ourselves. I'm going to say this slowly. It is our duty to clean up ourselves and our community. This contract is a two-way street. As we gain social and economic equality, we must begin to dissolve any bitterness in our hearts for past wrongdoings. Well, I was going to finish, but I want to stop there. We need to get rid of any animosity in our heart for past wrongdoings. What is being said there is this two-way contract is also partly we have responsibility. We got to do our part. We got to quit drinking and acting up and acting crazy and all that. And we got to get rid of the bitterness in our hearts. We must become better citizens, which I did say that the other day. I said that the other day, that we do need to become better citizens. We need to be more aware. We need to get out of social media and start digging in and reading for ourselves, which is why I did this. I wanted you guys to see this and I wanted to read it to you guys. We must become better citizens who are more productive on all levels of American society. We really must step up after we pass the contract with Black America with no more excuses left in the kitty. In the kitty? Okay, no more excuses left in the kitty. Our entertainers, I would have thought to put a better word there. Our entertainers should be persuaded. This is where I have to really, I almost fell out laughing though on this statement. Our entertainers should be persuaded to deliver more positive content that leads our youth to make better choices in life. So before I read the very last sentence, it says our entertainers should be persuaded to provide more positive content. Okay, Ice Cube, let's start with all the NWA stuff. You are a multimillionaire now. Now you're going to come back and tell Cardi B and Young Thug and 50 Cent and I don't know, go Kodak Black, all these rappers that they're not maybe making the same other than 50. They're not making the same kind of money you are. You're getting ready to now tell them they should go against their record label because that's how they make money and make nice music, positive music for our youth. I just want to make sure if I heard that right and read that right. I wish I could have promoted this so that somebody else could tell me what they think about that. I'm dying to know what anyone else thinks about that other than me. I'm not saying that it's not going to happen. I'm not that much of a naysayer, but I just know that a lot of these record labels, they dictate what kind of music goes out into the world and what is made. And they want hardcore trap rap because they know that that's what our youth likes. To ask them to what? They're going to flip-flop and do half and half? couple nice songs, couple of good, yeah, some people do, but they don't do that till they've made the money yet. That's not what trap music's all about. But I'm just saying. Lastly, a new pride. But I do think entertainers should do more. I do think more of them should step up like LeBron. That I agree on. The very last, I'm going to say one more statement, and then after that, I'm going to close out. A new pride must develop with these new opportunities, and we must fight against negativity, frustration, hopelessness, depression. Well, this ends like it started. Alcoholism and drug abuse, and etc. So I'm going to close out by saying this. Thank you guys for spending your time with me. I know this was an hour and it was pretty long, but I wanted to make sure that you guys actually knew what was in the contract for America and contract with Black America. Sorry. But I think that we have to really sit down. I think we need a hardcore plan. We need a hardcore plan. And this isn't it. This is a bunch of ideals and concepts. It's a starter. It's a working document. But what I didn't like was that this document was used as the document, the contract. Because I will guarantee if you would have sat down and gave the same contract to Angela Rye or Common or some of Cornel West or some of these, it would have looked a whole lot different. So this was Ice Cube's version of contract of what Black America. But guys, we need so much more and we need to do better ourselves. I agree with that. But what I don't agree with, guys, is using this as a reason to hijack your vote. Okay? We need to. I started with history. I'm going to end with history. Your ancestors, your parents, your grandparents, they did a lot. A lot of them didn't even have the right to vote. So you must vote. Now, if you vote for, Republican or Democrats, that's your own personal 2 cents. But I will say this. You tell me what you think that with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Samir Rice and I could go on, Philando Castile, of all of these guys, if all of this had happened and the pandemic under President Obama, under President Bush, under any of these other world leaders, would this response have been the same? And I'll leave that to you guys and make sure that you go out and vote. This is the most important election of our times. And I would hope that you guys will go out and vote and do not hijack your vote. Do not vote because Kanye said to vote. Do not vote so Kanye can run around and say, I saw y'all wrote me in, and don't take away a vote from a viable candidate to make Kanye happy or to get on his timeline or now it's 50 Cent in here and all this stuff. And let me just say one last thing. A lot of the things in this contract that we talked about it's money involved here. Kanye is not doing this whole thing because he doesn't have anything to do. He's doing this because he's been paid to do it. He's been paid to do it, and it's taking away votes from Biden. Everything that, the reason why the Trump administration, Katrina, whatever her name is, I think it was Katrina something, ran as soon as she got off the phone with Ice Cube. She didn't get off the phone good. She ran and posted, and tweeted, thank you for, giving us a contract with Black America. They're not doing that because they thought this contract was so amazing. They did that because they need Black votes now. And this is just, if it's 20 of y'all that think this is great, that's going to vote for Trump now, that wasn't going to vote for, they've accomplished their mission. So you guys got to look at the big picture. Just as easy as you want to use this particular contract and this situation as an excuse not to vote, if anything, it's more of a reason to vote. So I stood in line for over an hour and a half to vote and another hour and a half inside. You guys can do it. Hopefully, even if you drop off your ballot, whatever you need to do. But guys, exercise your right to vote. I would love for you guys to vote for, Joe and Kamala, but hey, it's your vote. Do your thing. Do what your conscience tells you to do. But don't do what Ice Cube and 50 and Diddy, because there's one thing that all of them have in common that you don't have. They're already wealthy. And we're still trying to get there. And on that note, guys, Peace, and I am out. I got a nail appointment, and I love you all. Bye-bye.